Well, joining me now is Senior Research Fellow at the Institute for Public Policy Research in the Energy, Climate, Housing and Infrastructure team, Maya Singer Hobbs. Good to talk to you today. So back to BP, first of all, what did you make of their announcement today?
Yeah, so it's a bit disappointing. It's that the rowback on investment in renewables is sort of going against the broader direction of travel, and especially given the advice that we got today from the Climate Change Committee. In many cases, it's already cheaper to sort of deploy and build renewables, and we expect cheaper than oil and gas. And we would expect that trend to continue as the cost of renewables continues to fall. And we're already seeing investors buying up renewable assets, in the US, for example, because they know that they hold long-term value and they are sort of banking on that being currently underpriced. So they're sort of buying them up now whilst they're cheap because they see that they're going to have long-term value. So I think, it sort of feels like a bit of a step in the wrong direction.
How much do you think is a result of Trump's presidency and his climate skepticism?
Yeah, I would say the CEO in that announcement, he talked about, I think he called it political headwinds, and we can see that is what's happening, and it's spooked some of these big companies. But what we know is that in the long run, renewables will deliver benefits for people, and they are becoming cheaper over time.
But do you think we will now see other energy companies following BP's lead?
I think there is a risk that is what we see. I think, the other sort of big oil and gas companies hadn't made such ambitious pledges as BP. I think we can view BP's move as actually sort of reverting back to what some of their competitors are doing. And what we also know, though, is that, the renewable energy companies are also, performing strongly. And so we would hope that they carry on that trajectory.
So, as you say, the boss of BP said he'd gone too far, too fast. If the big energy companies, though, are not following the pledges that they have made, it is going to make reaching the environmental targets that the government had set out harder. And it also increases the pressure on businesses, on householders, and on the government itself. So what's interesting is that in the UK, because the government has pledged to clean energy by 2030, this sort of decision by BP is actually going to won't be very good for British shareholders. And what we can see in the report today from the CCC is that there are significant savings for consumers on this transition. So the sort of action on climate change is, yes, it's about reducing emissions, but we know that tackling climate change can help the government meet other priorities and other objectives that it might have, whether that's its clean power mission, whether that's sort of its industrial strategy or devolution agenda. We know that action on climate change can sort of help meet some of those targets as well. But do you think that's going to get harder as a result of this decision?
I think, given that the UK has committed to clean energy by 2030, I actually think this decision shouldn't have too much of an impact. The government has set out its trajectory on its energy generation and its energy plan, and actually, that should be doable.
Okay, Maya Singer Hobbs from the Institute for Public Policy Research. Thanks very much.